All right, if you're building AI or your business is using it, you really need to listen up. The EU has just unleashed a massive new law, the AI Act, and trust me, it's going to change how you work. So over the next few minutes, we're going to break down exactly what this means for you, the builders and the business owners, and how to stay on the right side of the law.
This really is the million-dollar question, isn't it? Is your AI ready for this? The EU AI Act is bringing in a whole new rulebook that could seriously impact how you develop and deploy your systems. But don't sweat it. We're here to walk you through it. So, to make this easy, we've broken it all down into a simple 6-step journey. We're going to cover everything, from figuring out if this law even applies to you, all the way to a final blueprint you can actually use. Let's dive in. Okay, first things first. Before you panic, let's figure out if you even need to. Does this massive law actually apply to you and your work? Are you in or are you out?
The official definition of an AI system is, a little wordy, but the key word you need to latch onto is infers. Think of it this way. If your system is just following a set of hard-coded rules, like a simple calculator, it's not AI under this act. But if it's learning from data to make predictions, like a spam filter does, or if it's generating new content, like we see with all the big language models, then yeah, it's almost certainly covered.
And here's the part that should make everyone everywhere pay attention. The reach of this act is huge. It doesn't matter one bit if your company is in Silicon Valley or Tokyo or anywhere else. If your AI system is used in the EU, or get this, even if just the output from your system is used in the EU, you're on the hook. This is a massive deal for global tech.
Okay, but there are a few important off-ramps. If your AI is built strictly for military purposes, or it's for pure research and development, or, and this is a big one for hobbyists, if someone's just using it for a personal, non-professional project, then it's out of scope. For pretty much everyone else building a product for the market, you're going to want to keep listening.
So let's assume the act applies to you. The very next thing you have to do is figure out your role. Are you a provider or are you a deployer? This is absolutely critical because the answer determines exactly what you're responsible for. You have to get this right.
It basically breaks down like this. A provider is the one who actually builds the AI and puts it out there. Think of a company like OpenAI with their GPT models. A deployer is anyone who uses that AI for a professional purpose. That could be a startup using that GPT model to power their chatbot, or a bank using a third-party AI to score loan applications. And yeah, you can definitely be both.
Now, here's a question I bet a lot of you have, especially if you're using open source models or building on someone else's platform. What happens when you don't just use an AI, but you actually change it? And this is where you have to be so careful. If you take an AI system that someone else built and you make what the law calls a substantial modification, guess what? You just became the provider. A substantial modification basically means you've changed it so much that its original purpose or safety has been altered. So, for example, if you take a general model and fine-tune it to give out specific medical advice, you've almost certainly crossed that line. And that means all the heavy legal responsibilities of the original developer, they land right on your shoulders.
At the very heart of the EU AI Act is one really simple idea. The higher the risk, the stricter the rules. Your entire compliance journey depends on how risky your AI system is, so let's figure out where you fall on the scale.
Let's start with the big red lines. Some AI practices are considered so dangerous that they are just flat out banned in the European Union. We're talking about stuff like government-run social scoring systems, or AI designed to manipulate people's behavior without them knowing. If your system does any of these things, it's a complete non-starter, period.
For most of you building real-world products, the key question isn't going to be, is my AI banned? It's going to be, is my AI considered high risk? Because if the answer is yes, that's where the most serious and demanding rules kick in.
So, how do you know if you're in the high-risk bucket? Well, it all comes down to the intended purpose of your AI. The Act has a specific list called Annex 3, and if your AI is used for things like hiring people, scoring their credit, or in education, it's automatically high risk. You absolutely have to read that list and see if your product's use case is on it.
Okay, so you've determined your system is high risk. Deep breath. You've got some work to do. Think of these next few slides as your personal compliance checklist. These are the things you must do to legally sell your product in the EU. First up, you have to set up a formal risk management system. And this is not a one-and-done kind of thing. It's a continuous process that has to live for the entire life of your product. You need to be constantly identifying risks, figuring out how bad they could be, and then doing something about it. For example, with a hiring AI, you'd have to constantly be looking for bias in your data and have a documented plan to fix it. Next up is data governance, and for all you developers out there, this one's huge. You have to prove that your training data is high quality. That means it's relevant, it's representative, and it's as clean as you can make it. And you must be actively hunting for and fixing biases. The key here is documentation. You need to document your data choices and justify why you made them. The Act also gets right into your code base. Your system has to perform at a certain level of accuracy, and you need to be able to demonstrate it. It needs to be robust, which means it won't fall apart or go haywire when it gets weird inputs. And crucially, it needs to have cybersecurity baked in from the start to defend against attacks like data poisoning or model evasion. This really raises the bar for how we build these systems. All right, we've talked a lot about risk, but the AI Act also has some really important rules about transparency. And what's interesting is that these can apply even if your system isn't high risk. It's all about making sure users aren't being deceived. Luckily, the main transparency rules are pretty straightforward. If you build a chatbot, you have to clearly tell people they're talking to an AI, not a human. Simple enough. And if your AI generates or manipulates images, video, or audio, think deepfakes, you have to label that content as artificially generated. The goal is just to be upfront with people. And we're not just talking about a little text label that says made with AI. The Act is pushing for actual technical solutions, things like digital watermarks or other metadata that's machine readable. The idea is to create a system where other platforms and tools can automatically detect and trace where this artificial content came from. It's a big technical challenge for sure, but it's where we're headed. We have covered a ton of ground, I know. So let's bring it all home and boil it down into a clear, actionable blueprint that you can use to figure out your next steps. Here it is, your 4-step plan. Step 1, know your role, provider or deployer. Step 2, classify your system's risk level. Is it banned, high risk, or do you just need to worry about transparency? Step 3, if you landed in that high-risk category, start building your risk management and data governance frameworks right now. Don't wait. And Step 4, for anyone making chatbots or generative AI, build transparency in from the ground up. Look, the EU AI Act is way more than just another regulation. It's really a new blueprint for how AI is expected to be built. It's going to demand a whole new level of rigor, documentation, and honesty from all of us. But it's also a chance to build AI that people can actually trust. So the final question is pretty simple. Is your code ready for the challenge?